the green one, little fox, and the blue one, fox, and the yellow one, and the little and the fox, and the green.
Did you know that 90% of people who eat 2 cups of broccoli daily have reduced occurrences of sleep apnea? Did you know that the peels of oranges are covered in a pesticide proven to stunt growth in children? Did you know that a Harvard University study revealed that 99.99% of people who enjoy pasta and bread daily do not have a gluten allergy? Any of this ring a bell? No? Well, it shouldn't, because I made it all up. Throw some statistics and percentages around, state them with authority, maybe even a fake citation, and you've got yourself a pretty convincing piece of propaganda. That, my friends, is the foundation of a movement that is taking social media and unfortunately by the executive branch of the United States by storm. Today, we are going to discuss, and excuse me while I choke this out, Make America Healthy Again, or the MAHA Movement. Welcome to the You Can Call Me Karen podcast. Hello. Welcome to the You Can Call Me Karen pod. This is Steph, and I'm joined by my amazing co-hosts. We have Manny.
Hello, Governor.
What up? And we have, don't be fooled by her name, she does season her food, Karen.
Thank you. That means so much.
Oh my God, that Chiron. Wow.
Yeah.
Hi.
That was impressive. I think that should go on your email exchange, your signature. You should put that on there. And in your Instagram tagline.
Karen
Everywhere.
seasons her food, Stansfield.
Well, welcome listeners, and welcome Karen and Manny. And so today we are going to be discussing the MAHA movement and how it's impacting decisions that are being made about public health here in the U.S. But first, I gotta know. Who you calling? I wanna know. Who you calling Karen this week?
Who are you calling, Karen? Who wants to go first, Karen?
I guess you want me to go first. So sure, I'll go first. I have a spicy one today. I was with my family, my husband and my son. We were in a customs line, waiting to get through customs, and the line was an hour and a half long, and Maxwell was being a total champ, but we were tired and frustrated and hot. I remember it being really hot. So we're standing in this long-ass line, and there is a man, standing next to us in another line. And he was wearing a mask, but he kept making eye contact with me. So eventually he started chatting, and he was like, "Is this your son?" And I was like, "Yep." That's never a good intro. I already know where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Is he's your only child?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like,
Jesus Christ, boy.
Yeah, I need to consult my notes so that I get this exactly right, because I was jotting this down the moment it happened. So
Lordy.
He goes, "You should have another child."
No.
To give him a friend, a daughter specifically.
What?
And I was like, "We're good." And he was like, "He's lonely. He has no friends to play with."
God.
I'm like, "Thank you for assessing that by standing next to me in a customs line." He's lonely and he has no friends to play with. And you guys,
wow.
The icing on the cake. There's more.
Oh no, there's more.
After all of that, we were like, "We're good, thanks." He leans into Maxwell and he goes, how is your hair so curly?
Oh,
Oh boy.
He said, is it natural?
Ay, caramba. Is it natural?
Yeah.
Bitch, I'm 6.
And also, like, yeah, what?
I got a perm.
I'm curling my fucking kid's hair.
The fuck? Wow.
Yeah. So that happened.
Oh,
We were
the
sleep
hell?
deprived.
just give
and-
us I was going to say, what is the description of this character?
I would love for you to guess, but I won't make you do that. He was from an Asian country. English was not his first language, and he was pretty old. Like
This wrecked
like
my whole vision.
grandfather
Yeah.
age.
This wrecked my whole vision.
Yeah.
Which is terrible. I made a lot of. I had a whole vision of
I had a whole vision. Exactly. Whenever my vision
Dang.
gets disrupted, I go to A Time to Kill, which we know Karen has never seen. But anytime I go to that scene, you know what? We referenced it before, Steph, where it was like, now imagine that person.
Wait, but I want to know what you pictured.
a white dude.
Older white man.
Okay.
Because like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You already said the gender, so I figured it was a white
Yeah,
guy.
because normally I feel like the "you should have more kids" comment comes from women.
Women. Though, you guys, I've been rewatching Handmaid's Tale, and so like
You are a sadist.
a sadist, period. And it's so my heart like sunk. Like, you need to have more children. Like, I'm in like this, and so.
Also,
And you
just,
said it was a
the
guy. I don't know.
extra
I just-
complexity of the fact that clearly I have not given birth to my son,
Yes.
and you are still suggesting I have more.
Yeah, like
Which, like, use your fucking brain. Like, you don't know my story. I may have had so many
Yes.
problems having a
Exactly.
child biologically. I may have spent a small fortune to go through the adoption process, and then you're just saying willy-nilly, like, I should have more.
Not to mention, don't fucking talk to me in
Yeah.
the customs line at all.
ever.
At all.
Oh my God.
Ever. About the weather, about how long the line is taking, what you ate on the plane. Don't fucking talk to me at all. Access
yes.
denied.
Like
Yes.
one of the most stressful places to be on the planet is a customs line.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
talking
that and the DMV, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're not trying to make friends here. And then certainly don't tell me about what I should be doing with my womb.
Right.
I won't.
Out of
Yeah. Yeah.
I was so
Oh,
mad.
Lord, I would have been
and like, what am I gonna do? Cuss out some old man, like, that doesn't
I know, you're like trapped. You can't even go anywhere.
I can't
That's the
even
point.
physically leave.
That's the point. Like, don't talk to me.
Don't talk.
This is not a time to engage at all about anything.
It was. I looked at Bob. We made eye contact.
Yeah.
And he just turned around as if he wasn't even part of our group. I was like, thanks.
Oh,
But it
geez.
was
Must
better
be
that way.
hanging-
It was better
yeah.
that way.
I know, because I was thinking, I'm just picturing Bob kind of letting this man know about himself.
Yeah, no. It was better that he just like disengaged. And the man was talking to me, like, but damn.
I feel like I would have hit him with the, sir, this is wildly inappropriate.
Embrace that
I
inner
need to start
Karen.
doing that just very like calmly.
Yeah.
Like,
Just start
wildly
to have like
inappropriate
one line in your back pocket that you can refer to. Of like,
yeah, it's not appropriate to talk to me about how many children I have.
yeah.
Ever.
Or just, it's inappropriate to just be talking to me right now.
Yeah. I should have been like, how many kids do you have?
Right.
Oh,
Right.
that's not the right number. One is better. You had too many. You should give one back.
Is your hair natural?
Oh my gosh. All right.
Lord.
I think we've beat that horse. Over to you, Manny.
Okay, well, the date is July 7th. 6th? Is today the 6th? Today is July 6th. Sorry, all the summer days are blending together. But it's 4th of July weekend, which means that we saw a lot of American flags this weekend on people's bodies and just expressed everywhere for the birthday of America. So we are going to call this, Karen, actually Chad. This is 4th of July Chad. So
Look at two men's.
yeah, two
I
Chads.
said men's.
So, men's. So in the spirit of today's episode, I was at the gym on 4th of July, and I was going to go stretch, and I see a man out of the corner of my eye wearing a shirt at the gym at a very popular time that says, "Just a dad trying to raise his kids not to be liberal." And I was like, I'll take an American flag on the 4th of July all day, but like that is just completely obnoxious. Like, are you serious, dude? Like, we get it, you know, but like, what kind of statement are you trying to really, I mean, I guess we know what kind of statement he's trying to make, but like, cool shirt, bro, you know, like, my God.
I wish you would have said that.
Yeah.
I know, I kind of really
like
like
that.
it too, like, cool shirt, bro. And like, the thing is, like, yeah, no, I'm not going to comment on people's bodies, but it's just like, I think we should be trying to do a little bit more than that. That's all.
We're getting sassy today.
That's the 4th of July, Chad. Just somebody who's just completely ignorant and obnoxious and, you know.
And you know he's wearing that in hopes that someone like comments on the shirt in either direction. Like he wants to be praised by the people who agree, and he wants to be challenged by the people who don't. Like he's looking for confrontation.
Right, looking for confrontation, intentionally doing it on the 4th of July because he feels all, you know, proud of the country and whatever, you know. It just is like, it's too much. It's so toxic and it's so nationalist, and it just feels really gross, you know. It's just like, and it's insulting. Like, I don't know. It just was an embarrassment.
You all really encountered some tough people this past week here. But thank you for sharing. And those are our Karens of the week. All right, ladies. You know that I have been wanting to do this topic for a while, and I have been blowing up our Instagram with all sorts of clips. So I kind of want to share how this topic like came to be for me, or why I wanted to discuss it. I saw this, someone I'm friends with on Facebook and just in life shared this meme, and this is what it said. It was an ADHD study that said that they put 300 children with ADHD on an elimination diet, eliminating artificial sweeteners, gluten, dairy, dyes, corn, and soy. So, okay. Then it says, the study says, then after 3 months, 72% of the children in the study no longer met the criteria for ADHD. So this person who I'm friends with, who shared this meme, educated lady, you know, bright, and she shared it, and she has always been very health conscious with her children. So she's always, you know, been like, no dyes, no, you know, that kind of mentality. So I was like, wow, that's an interesting study. Well, Then I saw an account that I am now obsessed with, who I'm going to reference
Yes, you
all. I'm obsessed with this account. And her name is, the lady who does this account, her name is Dr. Jessica Knurick. She is a registered dietitian and she has a PhD in public health, which we are going to talk about. And she shared the same study, but basically debunked it. And she pointed out the fact that that meme, which the one that she shared was shared by an account called The Patriot Barbie. So I'm sure you can already imagine this account.
It sounds legitimate.
Doesn't it sound legitimate and scientific? She said that she saw it from Patriot Barbie, and the caption was "Let's MAHA," like "Let's MAHA," like that's how it's captioned. And so Dr. Knurick explains that, guys, we have to be a little bit more diligent and a little more discerning when we see stuff. There were no links included to the study in the post. So this study that says 300 children were on an elimination diet, that 72% of them no longer meet criteria for ADHD, like what a huge claim without any sort of data to support it. She then shared another account, shared the exact same meme, but just different colors. So the wording was the exact same. Now this account actually did share the link to an abstract. So an abstract is not a full study, it's just a summary. And the abstract of the study referenced does not do any of the things it says in that. There were not, the children in the study did not have ADHD. They did not.
Whoa.
Yeah. The children, the study did not follow the children who were being on an elimination diet, and they didn't eliminate all of the ingredients that were listed previously. And so it had nothing to do with ADHD in the end. Like, they weren't looking at kids who had ADHD. And so Dr. Knurick was pointing out that the person who thought to themselves, maybe I should link something, they found an abstract, a paragraph that mentioned something about elimination diet and just went click add, assuming that no one would read it.
Right.
And no one did.
And no one did, because it had thousands of likes and shares.
Yeah. Well, and I know of people with children who have ADHD who have gone through this extensive process to take red 40 or whatever, out of the diet because of references like this. I don't know if it was this exact, meme or study or whatever, but I have genuinely heard this before from people that have suggested I try to remove certain things from Maxwell's diet. And I admittedly just I was just like, okay, thanks. You're not a doctor, but I'll let my doctors tell me what to do. But it's frightening. And I can see why, as a parent of a child who may be struggling in some way, whether it's ADHD or otherwise, you would be kind of desperate to find something that works. It kind of preys on people's circumstances. It's bullshit.
Well, I think, the reason I fell in love with Dr. Knurick's account is because she always references actual studies or points out where studies are not included, so that we don't cling on to what you're saying, Karen, of things that we feel like, you feel like maybe there's something I'm giving my child that's causing this, or, you're kind of preying on people's vulnerability and concern. And I wanted to open with, have you all noticed an increase in wellness influencers? She's talking about the fact that there has been an increase in people speaking about wellness and diet and ways to improve your personal health. And if so, like, what are some of the things that you're seeing, like, in your feed, or, like, you know, because, like, like you said, Karen, I'm a teacher, so I've heard of parents talking about the diet that their kids have, and all sorts of things that they're trying at home to help mitigate symptoms of ADHD. And so when I saw the post, like, I admittedly was like, oh, okay, I mean, maybe there is this study, and to, you know, realize that there truly isn't one, I was like, man, I have so many questions. But anyway, I'm sorry, I went on. What I did, I asked a question and then answered my own. What are you guys seeing out there? Anybody?
I mean, tons of these wellness influencers, for sure. I find them infuriating. I think we got a little bit into this in the toxic self-care episode as well. It's like, it's like everyone is suddenly an expert. Everyone has like the silver bullet to whatever your ailment is, and they're putting it in such a format that's so digestible and enticing that it's preying on our like immediacy culture, where you think, I just need to do this one thing and that's going to solve all my problems, as opposed to, again, listening to your healthcare professionals, whether physical or mental. And if you don't like what they're saying, or if you don't agree with what they're saying, you know, get another opinion for sure. But we are in this modern world, we are like downplaying the intelligence and knowledge of the people who should have, you know, like should know all of that, our doctors and our scientists, and we're relying on information from bullshit studies like this. And I'm looking at you, RFK Jr. Like, he is the exact problem, in my opinion. He is not an expert. He is not educated. He has repeatedly referenced not only false studies, but studies that do not exist.
Because he got it from ChatGPT.
Yeah, ChatGPT literally made up fake references. It's horrifying. And our government doesn't seem to care about any of that, or like our actual well-being, to regulate, you know, the social media industry or anything like that. It's just, it's frightening, and it's preying on people's best intentions. Like you said, people are vulnerable. It's not like people want to believe fake shit. They believe it's real, right? And it makes them feel better. And yeah, gosh, I'm going down a like, rabbit hole here, but Manny, reactions.
I think a couple of things. One, you said that it reminded you of the toxic self-care episode, but for me, it reminded me of our mental health episode. And this might be very dark and cynical, but I think this is the playbook from like the Nazi Germany that we
I'm so glad you brought this up.
see, is that like, you know, people who have diagnoses of ADHD and other learning disabilities, or any disability or addiction, like those are not curable. This is who you are. And when we were talking about this in our mental health episode, I think I made reference to this of like, it's not quote unquote fixable. You know, and what I hear underneath all of this conversation is there's a problem with your child that needs to be fixed, and here's how you fix it. And then you move away from the humanity of the child, and you move into this robotic, everybody has to be the same in society. Everyone has to fit into this whatever mode, so that we can be more capitalistic and produce and get more money. You know what I mean? Like that's what my mind goes to with all of this. Yes. So it's like the intention to quote unquote change this biology of an individual is rooted in like evil. I personally feel like, because like our children came to us with these beautiful capabilities, and instead of looking at them as a way to expand and stretch and use them abundantly, we're trying to take some of the great pieces of them away to like fit into a society that we want to produce more wealth and a better economy, you know? So that's one thing that I think. And then the other thing I hear is that this is like totally elitist. People who are in a poverty-driven area don't have access to to remove these ingredients from their diet. And that's, again, like another thing with the capitalism, is that like then these major corporations and industries like McDonald's and whatever grocery store come into these food deserts and like put this food into these communities, and then you have these people on Instagram and social media saying that it's just driving the poverty gap further and further away. And like, if there is any truth to it, I'm just saying. But like, and I think this is what the woman who you're referencing talks about, is that this is a systemic issue about like access to like good food. And there, and my last point will be like, and the more we bulldoze over our forests and our natural resources, the less access we're going to have to actual good food that will provide us with the nutrients that we all need, not just people who have been diagnosed. All of us need this wonderfully nutrient, like efficient food. The more we bulldoze over that and build more things to produce capital, the less of it we're going to be able to have.
Right.
Oh my gosh, you have really gotten to the core of what Dr. Knurick says on her account, and really kind of what I was wanting to like work towards throughout our discussion. What she talks about a lot is the difference between between personal responsibility versus systems, or the difference between wellness and public health. Yes. And so before we start, like, what comes to mind when you hear those phrases?
That's a great question. I have to think about that a little bit more.
Because for me, it went more political, like pulling yourself up by the bootstraps kind of mentality versus, any sort of like safety net. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, her whole thing is, she's a dietitian as well. So she's like, of course I'm going to promote, eating whole grains and vegetables and having protein and, all of those things. But when you label a movement, MAHA, Make America Healthy Again, what you're describing is public health. But the means to which you are saying that we can reach it is simply based on the individual, which is our capitalist culture.
I
So
see.
she's saying what you're suggesting is what you were saying, Manny, is like, you have to have access. A lot of times these wellness influencers actually have a product they want you to buy.
Right.
And so, if you buy this pill, if you use this machine, or if you add this to your diet, or if you, whatever, it's all about access. Right. And it just continues to create a divide between the haves and the have-nots, period.
Right.
Period.
As opposed to public health, which is our government making decisions, making laws that support the well-being of our entire country, not just the people who can afford whatever products are being pushed.
So one of her clips that and by the way, all of these are linked in our show notes. So please take some time to watch some of these because they're really, really great. But one I took a lot of notes on, and I'm going to share it right now. The one is called MAHA Celebrates While Public Health is Dismantled. That's the title of the video that she did. And in it, and she references articles like from reputable news sources. And so she said, some wins that MAHA was celebrating on the Human Health Services website. So that's RFK Jr.'s domain, I believe. Like, and so
Imaginary little thing, whatever reality he's living in.
yeah. So there's 3 wins that they were celebrating on their website. One was that Utah becomes the first state to ban fluoride in public drinking water. They literally did that. And then number 2 was there was
in Utah.
like,
Meanwhile, that's not his win. That's a state. He's at the federal level. So
sure, but true, but it's something like basically Utah was adopting a policy that they think that we should do at a federal level.
yeah.
Number 2, there's a ban on specific dyes and additives in public school meals. Okay. And win number 3 was that there's a ban on purchasing soda using SNAP benefits.
Oh my God.
And it's like Dr. Knurick like comments on that, and she says like that has nothing to do. There's no research to support that banning this group of people from buying soda would increase their health, and that's really a ploy to control people as opposed to really trying to help people. She said at the same time that they're celebrating these quote unquote wins, she has a list of things that the Trump administration has done to our health systems. And I did put all 7. I'm going to read all 7 because she constantly talks about all of these issues, which it does actually contribute to our public health. So number 1, they have cut funding for research by universities and hospitals. 2, so scientists and research is being cut. So that's how we learn. Fired thousands of scientists and researchers and public health experts. So I'm sure you guys have heard about like the layoffs at the federal level. Number 3, eliminated food safety programs at the USDA. So like pollution in our water and soil. Number 5, cut $1 billion from USDA program used to help schools and food banks have access to fresh produce. That there would be way more beneficial than banning specific dyes in food. How about schools having access to vegetables and
some
fruit?
strawberries? Jesus.
Halt global health funding, which experts warn will increase our risk of future pandemics and our ability to detect disease outbreaks. So like when we pulled from the World Health Organization or
Jesus.
Yep. And then number 7, billions of dollars cut to Medicaid and SNAP as part of the big beautiful bill, and 17 million people will lose access to Medicaid. And that right there is actually part of our public health system because it's our lowest income individuals who utilize Medicaid, and without health insurance, what's going to happen?
Oh my gosh. Wow. Sorry. I'm still processing, but
Yes.
Can you repeat the second thing that they were celebrating as a victory?
Ban on specific dyes and additives in public school meals.
Okay. That's not what I was thinking. But I was thinking of something of like basically what they I heard something about like how they just kind of rebranded Michelle Obama as like Michelle Obama was like all about like this healthy school choices, and when she was speaking about it, everyone was against the funding for that. And now that they're rebranding it as Make America Healthy Again, now they're all on this like kick to like improve the quality.
Oh, don't you worry, I have that too. That's also included. There's a
like tossing them up for you.
Tossing them up and knocking them out of the park. Yes, Dr. Knurick addresses that one too. Actually, what you I think are referring to is there's a clip of a guy from I can't remember if it's like USDA or Human Health Services. I can't remember which organization, but he's like, we're going to do away with that old food pyramid.
Oh,
yes. And we're going to, whatever. He talks about the fact, like, we can't just say grains. We have to be specific about what type of grains. And so she cuts in and she's like, first of all, we did away with the food pyramid in 2011. As part, we have been, instead of the food pyramid, first of all, when we were kids, it was the 4 food groups, right? Then they went to the food pyramid. They got rid of the food pyramid in 2011, and now it's called My Plate. And basically you have different categories that your plate should be full of. And she said, lo and behold, and she pulled up the nutrition guidelines website, and if you click on the grains one, it does specify that it should be whole grains. And what examples, even though his interview says we're going to be more specific so people know exactly what they mean by grains. And she's like, you're just re-saying what, like you said, that was initiated by Michelle Obama's initiatives, and those things already exist. And so they're basically just repackaging things that scientists and registered dietitians have already done.
Yes.
And then taking credit for it.
But just putting a white face on it and saying that this is, which is like brings me to my next point of like just this whole like rebranding and repackaging of like, you know, and it just indigenous cultures, African people, other people outside of America have been saying this about the earth and stuff. It's so ironic that they're like, we need to remove this. It's like, bitch, you put it there, you know, like indigenous people, ancient societies and cultures have been talking about this for a long time, but it was the white European people who came in and colonized and burned down fields and like took away all the great good stuff from the earth, and then made the Industrial Revolution happen. And that's when everything started. Our food, we started to get sick, you know, like, and your point with the disease of like, they came over with so much disease that wiped out cultures that never saw that disease before. You know, it's like, great. You're acting like this is something that like is new. Like you have this new idea, when really you were the one who made the problem from the start. Like, just say that, you know, it goes back to the conversation that we always talk about. Maybe if we just acknowledged what slavery did, maybe if we just acknowledge what colonialism did, we wouldn't have to be complicating things this much. And we could actually have this, you know, this clean, healthy approach to lifestyle, right? But you're not doing that, and that's what makes me really like upset.
Well, and they're lying. Like they're saying they want us to be healthy, but then they're taking away all of the systems and institutions and organizations that would enable us to improve our public health. So you're not going to take credit or take the blame for the problems in this space if you aren't even telling the truth about what you want to be better. Like, it's just smoke and mirrors. I get really frustrated, and I feel like I shut down a bit on these conversations because it feels so hopeless. Like, stop saying you care about our health. Stop saying you want us to eat whole foods and taking away SNAP benefits under the guise of health. You don't actually want any of that because you're cutting the funding to universities and hospitals, the USDA, the FDA, the Medicaid, Snap. Like, your list is horrifying.
Like, she can't reiterate that enough, that there's a difference between personal wellness and public health. And if we don't, as a country, invest in what makes our public healthy, then it's just going to be every man for himself. I think when Michelle Obama introduced these health initiatives, always, like, one of my questions I had for discussion is like, how does MAHA relate to other right-wing or conservative ideologies?
Yeah.
And because I feel like as soon as you start to say, we as a society can, we can invest in programs like, Medicaid and SNAP, and we can invest in, fresh farm to school and fresh farm to, there's systems we can put in place to make sure that everybody has access. Then people start to say, well, you're infringing on my right to choose whether I want those things or not. And then you're starting to say, well, I want my government to be smaller, and then I can make my own choices and stuff. Whereas, like, if you want the public to be healthy, we can create systems that can keep us healthy. And so it's like, at first it sounded like, coming from a Black woman from a Democrat presidential administration,
Right.
you guys just want to control us and tell us what to do. But the truth is, you're removing access. And then another thing that you said that stood out to me, Karen, was just like, or maybe, no, I think it was you too, Manny. You were talking about like what we do to food, or what colonialism has done to food. And that also speaks right to capitalism, because a lot of the additives and preservatives is so that food tastes good, lasts longer. And so we become, dependent upon the food. And so that's like, it's how
And,
it's
like,
putting money in their pockets.
Right. Right. And it's not even the quality of food, it's how we engage with our food, right? So like, we have gone from having gardens, like neighborhood gardens or whatever, to having to like go to the grocery store and get our own food. Now we have our groceries being delivered to us, right? It's like, but all for what? So that we can spend more time at work instead of in community, And so I think that like, to answer your question of the right wing, like pipeline there, I feel like the difference between, I don't even know if it's I don't even know, to be fair, right wing, left wing, whatever. I can't even identify with anything right now, if I'm going to be completely transparent. But I know what really like makes me upset in many of these conversations is that what I hear is that the right wing is uninterested in community building. Like, they are so uninterested in building around a village where I think what my learning and growth is right now as a parent and somebody who does really need to rely on community is like, that's just different. Like, I just really want to build something sustainable and something where I can not be solely responsible for all the components of the system.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like as soon as you start to say, a program or government being involved in any sort of way, they start, you're a socialist, you're a communist, like you don't believe in free market and whatever. And it's like, yes, but I feel like there's certain aspects of society that should be a group project, like public education, public health, our roads, and stuff. Like, there's certain aspects of our society that we should all be contributing to. Like,
I agree.
That.
I agree with that. Yes. And I think that goes back to like how this whole conversation started with the ADHD, is that like, if we don't start to look at everybody and our unique gifts and like our talents and our skill sets, but we start to see those as deficits, then we start to drain our actual capital. And now we are all actually working more inefficiently. But if everybody has to play the same role, or everybody has to your point of like the wellness, like if I have to do it all, then I'm actually not healthy at all, because like I should just be tapping into my own channel. I should just be tapping into my own unique gifts, and then I should be open enough to allowing other people's gifts to fill certain like deficits in my life to help me be more whole, right? But if like if in my community, we're we're all in competition with one another, then that doesn't happen. And then I'm actually like more drained, more burnt out. I think this is what you're talking about, Karen, of like how this is like in our self-care, like, and actually it's actually counter productive to what the actual like outcome should be, you know? And my friend who does like light work and stuff, she talked about this as like, hopefully this is where our society will move from, whereas like we're not, all of these different industries are going to have like, you know, somebody who can tap into like the health, the spiritual, the political, you know, we're all going to be able to see these different roles and that be the like holistic approach to our like standard of living. But until we really allow for all of that, then I think we're just going to find ourselves in more and more conflicts, you know? I don't know if that had anything to do with anything that we're talking about. I just went on my own little tangent.
No,
but that's what I saw in my imagination.
Yeah, I feel like it speaks directly to what we've been saying. Like that's, especially you said like a holistic, like we need to have a holistic approach to many aspects of life, including our health.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Here comes judgmental me.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Can't wait.
So I feel like back in the day when people were like kind of talking about if we had Instagram back in the day and the people who were talking about wellness, individual wellness and things that we need to be cutting from our diet and stuff, you would actually not envision I'm not going to say you, I'm going to say I, because again, this is coming from a deep place of judgment. I would not envision Patriot Barbie. I would envision a crunchy granola hippie person. I feel like back in the day, people who were anti-vax and like all that kind of stuff were actually very liberal. And do you see what I'm saying? Do you see where I'm headed with this?
Yeah.
Now I see that the wellness industry and the influencers that have like, you know, bombarded our social media and now, you know, someone like that is now the head. Sorry, not like that, but like now to the point where now we have RFK Jr. as the secretary of whatever he is. I feel like it started with, because my question was, what I was going to ask was, how did we shift from people being kind of crunchy granola, earthy, more liberal, communal, like we should have a garden and we should whatever, to now I'm kind of anti-vax, anti-dye and stuff, like, and that be people who would promote this MAHA like movement and vote for Donald Trump. Like, yeah, I've been having kind of a disconnect. Like, why are we now cycling around? Like, this girl, I'm just kind of friends with her on social media. We're not like close or anything, and she like homeschools her kids, and you know, she shares a lot of this stuff, like where we need to get rid of dyes and all that kind of stuff. And she is a Trump supporter, and I'm just like, what happened where this community of people is talking about quote unquote wellness, but it's not from this like earthy, we need to, you know, have a community where we have a community garden and things that you were even describing, Manny, at the beginning of the session. And I kind of started to think about it as we were talking, and I feel like the question was answered for myself, because I do friends have links to discussion on vaccines as well. There's also the vaccine.
Came ready today,
guys, like, because I went on down a rabbit hole with this, but I'm wondering if COVID, because remember when the vaccines came out, it was, you know, the more conservative, like Trump supported people who were against masks and against the vaccine, and all the misinformation about vaccines, about how it do you guys remember, like, there were a lot of things being said about the COVID vaccine, that it would like cause all sorts of problems, and like, well,
we're implanting chips
and government control. That's kind of where everyone went. And I feel like since then, there's been this new movement of people not vaccinating, like the measles outbreak, I think, in Texas, and all that kind of stuff. And
the anti-vax thing, I'm sorry to interrupt, the anti-vax thing has been going on for much longer than that. It's like some fake study about...
She's saying it was more
amplified.
like the liberal. No, but she's saying the ideology was from like more crunchy hippie, where like after COVID, Am I saying that?
That's what I'm talking about.
Different
the
ideology.
People who are
party.
Exactly. I'm talking about the people who have attached to this anti-vax mentality has shifted from the liberal, earthy, hippie, like, like holistic, natural, like I want natural things in my body kind of thing, but still believe in a lot of social and communal based ideologies are now the people who are attaching to the anti-vax community are more about like government control, and the narrative around anti-vax has really changed, and who I'm seeing promote, getting rid of food dyes and all that kind of stuff really feeds into this personal wellness, personal responsibility that promotes our capitalist society.
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
think you were blowing my mind right now. Like, and I think why you're doing it is because like extremes are always that. Like extremes are always just mirrors of one another.
Yeah,
right?
what a
And
pendulum
so, like,
swing.
the extreme of liberalism is the same extreme of being right wing, or wait, I use liberalism wrong. I think liberalism is actually a different political ideology, but the extreme of being on the left wing is the same extreme as being on the right wing.
Yes.
You're actually, just a mirror of one another, which is why we need more like balance, like kind of in the middle. And you're blowing my mind with that. I didn't even think about that whole like transition and shift, and how COVID really just put us on a whole different timeline. We are like, what is happening? That really just was a complete paradigm shift for a lot of people.
because I'm not saying COVID like created the anti-vax movement. There was an anti-vax movement prior. I'm just saying who jumped onto it and how they're pushing the narrative and stuff is shifting.
I do feel like it's a combination of COVID and the current administration. Like those two things coming together at the same time.
Yeah.
Even his ideology. His ideology, he was quote unquote more liberal than he was conservative, and then he just found more of.
Wait, are you talking about RFK?
No,
Junior?
I'm talking about Donald. Way back. Was not.
This is one of those
Republican.
This is one of those lies that has been very successfully told about, that like he used to be a Democrat and he used to contribute to the Democratic Party. It's simply not true. He
always contributed to the Republican Party.
Well, I don't know if he always contributed at all.
That's all I mean.
That's
all I mean is that like even he wasn't like a staunch Republican. It's not like people saw him as like a Republican always. I'm more talking about like his rebrand as a Republican also changed.
Yeah, I mean, he's
when
not
he came down the
Republican.
escalator in 2016, like he was able to speak to that community, like and create like a swell within the Republican Party by just picking a few things and pouncing on them, really.
Yeah, but he wasn't always considered as like a Republican figurehead.
No. I mean, he hasn't been in the political sphere even. I mean,
So like with that, like that also probably created this whole new wave of like, I don't know, what is like belief. You were just blowing my mind right now, Steph, with this transformation. I don't know. I can't. That's my professional. It's like now I'm without words because that is fascinating.
Well, I have one more thing
Okay.
before we head into confessionals. Like, what has really moved me with what Dr. Knurick has been talking about is if you really want public health, then there are systems that need to be invested in order to keep us all healthy. And so we're talking about personal responsibility versus systems, individual wellness versus public health. And so what it made me think of was a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King. Because and so I'm going to share the quote because this popped into my head while I was reading all of this stuff, and I did find a video of an interview on NBC, and what he says is beautiful, and I do have the video linked so you can watch it. He says, "It is a cruel jest to say to a bootless man that he ought to lift himself up by his bootstraps. And many Negroes, by the thousands and millions, have been left bootless as a result of a society that deliberately made his color a stigma and something worthless and degrading." He was being asked in the interview, the man was like, all these immigrants have come to the United States, and this is like 1960 something. 7, I think, was the interview. And they're figuring it out, they're whatever. And Martin Luther King responds, well, they were not enslaved people here on this soil. And he gives a brief history of how when slavery ended, no land was given to Black people, no money, nothing to get them started. And so that's how he came to, it's a cruel jest to say to a bootless man he ought to pull himself up by the bootstraps.
Right.
And so the reason that this quote came to my mind is it's cruel to talk about personal wellness and personal responsibility when you are cutting SNAP benefits. It's cruel to talk about personal wellness when you are cutting Medicaid. It is cruel, it is cruel to talk about personal wellness when you have cut the EPA, which controls metals and things in our soil and water. So it's cruel to say we need to find a way individually to make ourselves healthy when you are cutting systems and programs that would help everyone.
I agree. Yeah. When you're coming into communities and using your billions of dollars to bulldoze over their land where they could make food for themselves, but because you get to determine what the value of the land is, you have more money, you can just take that land from them and create food deserts for them where now they are either displaced or, tethered to the new sort of food that you have put into their proximity. Like, why can't people see this clearly? I don't understand. That's what drives me bananas. Like, this is why they don't want to study history. It's cause and effect.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just
Any confessionals or ahas that hit you as we were discussing?
I think for me, we were staring at each other like, who goes first?
Yeah,
I think for me, when we first started this podcast, we were wanting to intentionally keep politics out, keep our political beliefs out, because we wanted to have conversations that both sides of the aisle could relate to and understand, and demonstrate that we all have more in common than we have apart, separate, different, whatever the word is. And what I would say my confessional is today is that in this dialogue, I feel very sad and deflated about these changes, the lasting impact these changes are going to have on our country and on the individuals within the country, that I care a little bit less about keeping my politics out of this. My not my politics, my personal beliefs that happen to align more with one party than another. But to Manny's point, I don't really recognize either party anymore. So anyways, I think the confessional for me is like, in the spirit of like trying to keep a dialogue that both sides can hear, these things are really important to the legitimate health and wellness of all of our people, not just those that can afford to buy the things that they really need. And I really hope people hear that. Like, I really hope both sides can appreciate that this isn't good for us. And we shouldn't let the wealthy elite, like the handful of people with all of the resources they could never need, make decisions for the general public that, that's ultimately going to kill us. It's really sad.
I think that's a good point about like our ideology and our belief. While we are like, I mean, my Karen story pretty much revealed where I land on that. But Steph's point of the like shift, I was trying to think, I also never really loved crunchy people being affiliated with my political ideology either. I always kind of was like, oh, really? You're not gonna, I just always kind of felt like there was something there that I just was like, I don't relate, and I think that's part of my confessional, but it just is like being a discerning individual in today's society is really challenging because it's so subtle, these like various attachments to certain ideologies. And it's just like, I think, again, to Karen's point, I think it's important, to like really state when I am struggling of like, I don't even necessarily know who's worthy of my vote right now. I'm so, my civic engagement is more grassroots right now with what I'm doing in my own personal life, which I think kind of responds to like personal wellness versus public health. I think what I don't like about all of this crunchiness, anti-vax, whatever, MAHA, is the arrogance around it and like that it has to have a it has to have a title. I'm this now, it's like, why don't you, that's the whole Karen thing. Like, why don't you just shut the fuck up and just be? Why don't you just be? Why do you have to announce it, influence it, push a product, right? Why don't you just do it long enough that it becomes part of your lifestyle and it's so attractive enough that other people will want to have what you have without having to pay a profit for it? Why don't you just shut the fuck up and just live your own goddamn life, like that? I feel like would be a way easier way of living, and then this public health conversation could be a little bit more effective.
Yeah. I feel like the idea that I think the thing that's standing out to me throughout conversation is that certain aspects of life should be a group project, in my opinion. Like, my ideologies say that public education, public health, infrastructure, all of those things speak to a left-leaning perspective, and it's to our health. I'm glad Karen brought up the fact that, initially we were trying to kind of toe the line and be a bit more inclusive, but I feel like the way that things have changed, like the landscape, it feels irresponsible not to say out loud that we should invest in the EPA so we don't have metals in our soil. Like, I feel like it's irresponsible to not say out loud that, you know, our lowest income earners should have access to some sort of health care like Medicaid. Like, it just feels irresponsible to not just say out loud like these things. And then I think about how it's so insane, like Dr. King comes to my mind, you know, in this quote that he says about pulling yourself up by the bootstraps speaks right to what's happening now. People always call on Martin Luther King for, well, nonviolence and all this stuff. And he was anti-war. He was pro-union. He was all about creating systems that build equity,
anti-poverty,
anti-poverty and all those kind of things. And what is sitting with me is that all of this stuff is related. So MAHA, all of the stuff is related to one another. So cuts to public education, the Department of Education, cuts to all of that stuff. It all comes together. And I think, Manny, you said it right at the top. It's fascist. You know, it's like, it's really trying to put all power into one and the highest earners, and leaving this gap just to keep getting bigger and bigger. And so it's it
reminds me of that. I'm sorry, I know we have to wrap, but it just reminds me of that like clip that I think was circling around a couple years ago of like, why does this have to be politically affiliated? Why can't this just be basic like human decency? Why does I want to like not have a huge homeless population have to be me being liberal?
Yeah.
You know, the government helping out with that. Like, why does everything?
Because they can't control us if they don't divide us.
Right. No, but that's what I'm saying is that like these labels that we've created like have taken away from the core, which, you know, again, human is that decency. Like is human decency.
Yep. Preach.
All right.
Wow. Well, thank you for listening to another episode of You Can Call Me Karen. Like, subscribe, follow us wherever you listen, and don't forget to hit up our show page for articles reference. There are so many links, guys, for this episode. Yes. You should watch every single one and just go on ahead and follow Dr. Jessica Knurick. Her account is amazing. She pulls up people actually saying these things and then links reputable sources to combat them, and she's just wonderful. So follow her, and all the links are on our show page. And if you miss us between our now and our next episode, drop us a comment on Instagram. You can call me Karen _pod. You can find us on YouTube and on TikTok at You Can Call Me Karen. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Bye, bitches.